Yo, what's up guys, hope you guys are doing good. So today we are going to see what if Naruto reveals his true form and rise above all shinobis existed part 2. Hope you will enjoy this video, so before we start please like the video and subscribe to our channel and hit bell notification, it motivates me to upload more fanfics for my lovely audience. So let's get started. The last thing that Naruto remembered before he woke up was how he was first chased down by a mob of people, and then they basically mutilated him, used every available method to make him hurt. He has been through plenty of beatings before and he was used to pain, but today was different, because the people of Konoha were quite literally out for blood this time, after his blood, and Naruto honestly believed that they had gotten their wish granted to them this time, for right now, he wasn't sure he was either alive or not, or that he was in Konoha to begin with. The reasoning for it being that he found himself laying on the ground, with the blood-red skies above him, and when he had finally risen and taken a closer look of his surroundings, he saw a nightmarish, corrupted and distorted version of Konoha all around him. I most certainly was enough to cause a person to have nightmare, but for Naruto, somehow, what he was seeing felt oddly familiar, like this was how he actually perceived Konoha, and the entire world in his own reality. But where the heck am I? Naruto asked. Where are all the people? And what is this place anyway? Was I kidnapped or something? No, my dear, you weren't kidnapped. This very place is a spiritual manifestation of your inner world, formed by your own senses, feelings and experiences. Naruto heard a voice, and from the thick fog before him appeared an extremely beautiful red-haired woman, dressed in noble garments that clearly showed all of her beauty. But in case you do not fully understand, think of this place something inside your mind, where you currently are. By the look on his face, the woman understood that Naruto barely comprehended it all. Okay, Naruto said unsurely. So, if I'm inside my own mind, then, are you Kyuubi? Did you pull me in here? Naruto asked of her, curious of it, due to having been told by the villagers before the beating that he had the nine-tailed fox inside of him, but the woman only chuckled before answering. No, I am not the nine-tailed fox demon that those ignorant sheep think you are. My name is Gremory, Naruto, and unlike the pitiful construct that those people consider to be a demon, I am a true demon. Gremory stated to him with clear pride in her status, with Naruto looking at her with surprise, yet not fear. Curious, usually, people have a more extroverted reaction when they discern the nature of my being. What is that supposed to mean? Naruto asked of Gremory, who took a moment to process everything. My apologies. I have forgotten for a moment that you are but a child. What I meant is that people usually react with fear and terror, and not simply as surprise. Gremory explained to Naruto, who understood her. Okay, I get it. Well, I guess I am not like others after all. Naruto said with a sad tone, with Gremory putting her hand on to his cheek and speaking with sympathy. Every person is unique in their own way, and there is nothing wrong with it, Naruto. Take pride in who you are, for none will be who you are. Gremory imparted her wisdom upon him, with Naruto feeling better. Now then, to answer your earlier question, Naruto, yes, I was the one to pull you in here. And as for how I was able to do it and why, I am afraid that those people that attacked have done far worse than everyone else that had attacked you before. Your body was physically killed, but I had managed to pull your spirit inside, in order to preserve your life. After hearing these words, Naruto took a step back, processing what he just heard from Gremory. They killed me. Naruto took a breath in, as he tried to collect himself, and failed, as the realization set in. All I ever wanted was to be loved, to matter, and I didn't want to hurt any of them. At that moment, as Naruto began to shake and nearly spasm, Gremory rushed to his side, kneeling before him and cupping his face with her hands. Naruto, please, look into my eyes. Focus on them and on my voice, and nothing else. Gremory's soothing and calming voice reached Naruto. You did absolutely nothing wrong to those people. You did not kill anyone or hurt anybody, and you are not the Kyuubi. You are an innocent and pure child, who had been wronged and used by selfish and arrogant people. What has been and being done to you is a cruelty and injustice that one must not tolerate, but you do not deserve it, Naruto. Now, breath in, and out, in, and out, in, and out, and after that, Naruto finally calmed down, with Grimory letting him go gently, before taking his hand and walking to the nearest bench and sitting down with him. Thank you. Nobody has ever said anything like that to me, Naruto admitted, before looking at Grimory. Are you sure you are a demon? To that Grimory chuckled in a light manner. Well, it would be more correct to say that I am a being of extraordinary characteristics, beyond those of common understanding and reasoning, but for the sake of simplicity, most prefer to call me and those like me demons. Grimory responded in knowledgeable fashion. Though I am a demon, I and much of my kind are not inherently evil, just like you are not inherently evil, despite what those fools may think. I know my kind does not have the best of reputations, but personally, I am not what one would call an evil entity, at least judging by standards of common human morality. Then, what are you doing in here? Naruto asked of Grimory. Why are you inside of me? Grimory's face hardened, as she knew that this was the hard point. I was imprisoned in you less than an hour after you were born, Naruto, alongside the soul of the Kyuubi, by your very parents. Grimory revealed to Naruto, with him widening his eyes. And yes, before you ask, I know who they are and I will tell you everything that I know, and what you deserve to know, but first, Naruto, I require your solemn promise that you will listen to my entire story, and not interrupt or disagree with me on any point, until I finish. I ask not out of personal interest, but out of concern for you. I promise to listen to everything, Grimory. Naruto promised, with Grimory sighing, before beginning her tale. Grimory held true to her word, and told Naruto all that she believed he had the right to be aware of, starting from the fact that she originally was a contracted familiar of Mito Uzumaki, the first holder of Kyuubi, before being passed on to Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto's mother. She told Naruto of the true nature of the tailed beasts, and of the circumstances of his birth, of his sisters Natsumi and Narumi, and of the attack that had happened on the night of their birth. She told him of his father, Minato Namikaze, and how he fended off the attack of a masked man and against the Kyuubi, and when the attacker was dealt with, then came the time to deal with Kyuubi. Once your father had transported you, Kushina and girls to the clearing, Kushina had summoned me through our contract, and had ordered me to assist Minato in stopping the Kyuubi. Though I will say that I detested her from the moment of our meeting, I complied with her order as per conditions of our contract, and unleashed my power upon the Kyuubi. Grimory continued. While I was preoccupied, your father had summoned Shinigami into our world and then he made a deal with him, separated Kyuubi's powers from its soul and sealed two halves into his daughters, while the soul would go into you. The price for it was my powers and my life, and so, I was used as currency and then my soul, weak and powerless, sealed inside of you against my choice, Naruto. And from then on I have resided within you, locked away within this corner of your inner world, unable to commune with anyone, but perceiving all that is happening with and around you. Afterwards, your parents, along with Jiraiya, Tsunade, third Hokage and members of Shinobi Council, have made a plan for your parents to take the girls to Namikaze clan and train them in order to master powers of the Kyuubi, while you would be left in Konoha, as a nominal Jinchuriki, to act as diversionary bait for enemies and friends of Konoha. I am sorry to tell you this, Naruto, but Kushina and Minato, they have given you up for Konoha. Grimory finally ended her tale, with Naruto taking quite some time to process it all, before finally speaking up. They are alive, and they left me. Naruto had asked of Grimory, who nodded to him. Why did they do it? Were they that afraid of that masked man? Partially, I think they were, but what played the key role, at least in their mind, was the fact that they are shinobi, and in their eyes, Konoha and the will of fire supersede even natural parental feelings and duties. Grimory told Naruto. In their mind, I suspect they acted in such a way for it was in the best interest of Konoha, but in reality I suspect it was only for their own selfish reasoning. They put their own ambitions, ideals and hopes above you, Naruto, and so they've left you. I know not if they care or not for you now, but if they had cared, they wouldn't have done what they did. Naruto finished for Grimoire in a grim tone, who agreed with him. So they left me here, and everyone thinks I'm the one responsible for all that had happened. Old man Hokage, the council, they know the truth, and yet, why did they allow it all to happen to me? Naruto cried out, with the inner world shaking around them all. Because this is what they believe is best for them, Naruto, because the people do not want the truth, or ask questions. Grimoire told him, with Naruto looking at her. The council in the power want to hold to their power and not have to be answerable to the rest of the people, and so instead of coming out and saying that they had done bad, they chose instead to silently place blame on you, the victim. The people wanted an outlet for their grief, rage and self-righteousness, and they found one in you, and the council were happy to give you to them. In other words, Naruto, in the eyes of this village and its leaders and even your parents, you are not even a human being. Then, what am I? Naruto asked of Grimoire. A tool, an instrument to be used and discarded afterwards. So long as you are of use to them, you will live and be used by them, but you will never have any form of true freedom. Grimoire told Naruto, and they will make sure you never realize it. Even now, as we speak, I know that your body was discovered and is being brought to the hospital for treatment. You will survive, yes, but Hokage will take measures as to ensure you remain loyal. What will he do to me? Naruto asked of her, before speaking for himself. He'll wipe out my memory. That and more, I imagine. I've not spoken of it, but you've long been a subject of their manipulations. You have been subjected to special seals that impair a person's ability to think, and reinforce certain concepts and ideas. In your case, those concepts are loyalty, Hokage and Konoha. Grimoire stated to Naruto, who was shocked to hear. Because of them is why you were so preoccupied with your dream of being Hokage and didn't see past it. This enforced single-minded focus was exactly what they wished you to have. However, that last attack had resulted in your physical death, and so those seals were deactivated, and I have been able to gain access to it, so I am able to grant you resistance from these things. Grimoire explained to Naruto, who was grateful for it. Wait, but if you are one of the more powerful demons, then why are you still here? I mean, couldn't you just up and leave? Naruto was confused on that part. Normally, I would be able to return to my own dimension and regain my power and physical body, but because of the seal, I am unable to do anything of that. Even though I am the Demon Duchess of Knowledge and can decipher and understand any piece of information, I am powerless to do anything about the seal cast by Shinigami himself. Grimoire told him, as I am now, I am but the meekest of shadows of my true self. I am embarrassed to say, but to perform any form of my abilities, I have to siphon out either your or Kyuubi's chakra. To actually pull you like this and establish a proper contact and link between us cost me all the accumulated chakra. I see. Naruto told her, before he took his time to process everything and think it through, and then he spoke up again. Grimoire, why did you bring me in here? If I had died, you would be free, right? I would be, yes. However, I would be ashamed of myself if my freedom came in such a way, not to mention consider myself as having betrayed the Uzumaki. It may come as a surprise, but your ancestor and third son of the Sage of Six Paths, Minashiro, was the one to first make contract with me, and I had helped him and his family survive the start of the war between Indra and Ashura. Grimoire revealed to Naruto, I've always been fond of Uzumaki, their spirit and principles, and so I from time to time entered into contracts with them. The last one was Mito, whom I had great respect and admiration for, while Kushina, your mother, for the lack of a better term, is a laquid hypocrite, with whom I hope to settle score. Is this why you need me? To help you get revenge? Naruto asked of her, already suspecting the answer. You are partially right, Naruto. I want vengeance, yes, but I also want to help you. Grimoire pointed to Naruto. Like I said, I am fond of Uzumaki, and I do despise those shinobi, not only for what they had done to you, but also to all of Uzumaki clan. So, I would like to form a pact with me. Like a contract. But didn't you already have it with Kushina? Naruto asked of Grimoire, who clearly was not pleased at that mention. Sorry, I didn't mean. No, It is alright. The contracts between demons and their summoners are different in nature, rules and duties than those between summons and shinobi. In essence, once we form a contract, you get access to not merely me as your familiar, but also right to utilize my knowledge and such. At the same time, summoner must look after their familiar and their interests. In short, it is a pact of mutual partnership and help, and one that Kushina obviously had broken. Grimoire stated to Naruto, and by doing so, she had sent a message to any and all potential demon familiars who associated themselves with the Uzumaki that she is not to be trusted. Now, as for benefits of having me as your familiar, you will have my help and my knowledge in all things that I've grasped and learned, and as the demon of knowledge that rivals Dantalion and some gods, I hold a great deal of knowledge, from arts of shinobi to advances sciences and mysteries of the worlds beyond. Okay, and on my end, you wish for me to help get your revenge? Naruto asked, with her smiling in knowing smile. Oh, it will be more than that, Naruto. I wish to reclaim my body and power, with your help, from Shinigami, and I already have a way of achieving it. Grimoire told him, I will be more than happy to reveal it to you, if you pledge to form our contract, and to add to it, I will assist you in whatever endeavor you set out for. In fact, I already possess a way for you to gain a great deal of power, and to free yourself of a certain type of bondage. Remember when I said that Ashura and Indra's feud went beyond their lives and spilled into lives of others? I mean it literally, for their souls happen to reincarnate in those that hold their blood, and this time, Ashura has decided to reincarnate into you, as a part of your soul. Right now, he merely is a part of your existence, a small and insignificant one, but later on he will influence you to things that normally you would not do, but he would, and so use you for his own gains. I offer to separate you from him, but also to take from him his own powers and abilities, and same with Indra, though with Ashura now, it will take me close to 10 years to fully separate you two and transfer his powers to you. The choice is yours, Naruto. Grimoire told him, with Naruto answering soon enough. All my life I had to suffer because of them all, and if they mean to use me as a slave. Then I will break these chains. Naruto stated to Grimoire, who could feel the raw determination coming from Naruto. I will not be anyone's slave, and I will take my freedom from them, one way or the other, and if it means gaining power, then I will do it. I get powerful no matter what, so powerful, that not even the entire world will be able to chain me ever again. Naruto proclaimed, his pledge made, with Grimoire smiling at him, knowing that she was right to place her bet on Naruto. Forest of Death. Naruto's age. 6. A year had passed since that fateful night, when all had changed and Naruto had formed a full contract with Grimoire, becoming her summoner officially, which granted the Demon Duchess unimpeded access to communicating and helping him. Just as Grimoire had promised, she lent her abilities to Naruto, using her powers to protect his mind and help him stay himself, while also teaching him a great many subjects, from chakra theory and application to more general subjects and more. To say that Naruto devoured her knowledge like a hungry beast would be a correct term, as Naruto learned and understood all that Grimoire offered to him, as obtaining more and more knowledge was one way to gain power and ultimately freedom. However, as both Naruto and Grimoire had figured out, there was only a limit to how much power and knowledge one can obtain within the confines of Konoha, and so, since the beginning, Grimoire began to look for a way for Naruto to get stronger without drawing too much attention from Konoha. The problem was that as they had learned, Naruto was under too much a supervision to actually be able to learn and use anything without drawing attention within Konoha, which severely limited their options of training. That is, until Grimoire had come up with another idea, one that she pitched into Naruto half a year ago, and now they were going to implement, hence why Naruto had snuck into the infamous Forest of Death and now was making his way to what Grimoire called its heart. I've always wondered, what's the deal with this place? Why is it so different from all the other forests in Konoha? Naruto asked of Grimoire aloud, since there were none who could hear them. In your world, there are certain places that are intersections of lines of natural chakra of your world. Due to the sheer amount and volume of the nature's chakra, local flora and fauna will undergo mutations and changes that would make them different from their normal counterparts. Grimory responded. This forest is one such spot, but what also makes it unique is the fact that this is also a place with residual primordial energy, which had also affected local wildlife. This primordial energy is exactly what we need and why we are here. Elaborate. What makes this primordial energy so different other types of chakra? Naruto asked, traversing the landscape. It is the basis of all other types of energy in the existence, including chakra. Pure, undiluted primordial energy is what gives birth to worlds and planets, and also life on them. Grimory answered. Normally, one wouldn't be able to encounter it like that, but this forest, I have a theory as to why there is such an abundance of primordial energy, but to confirm it, we best get to the heart of the forest. I can sense that it is the place of concentration of said energy. Alright, I'm on it, and while we are going there, how about you tell me, why do you think that this ancestor of mine is still alive and will help me? Naruto asked of Grimory. Not to sound doubtful of your knowledge and wisdom, Grimory, but I believe we have already established that most humans do not get to become immortal in a full sense of that word. Emphasis on the word, most, Naruto, and the person we are seeking is not from that category. Even among the Uzumaki, she stood as a prodigy from the start, but when she began her journey, that was when she had flourished into the being worthy of respect and admiration of gods. Grimory explained. Like your progenitor Minashiro, she sought answers of the world and existence, and believed that one could obtain enlightenment through self-improvement, discipline and martial mastery. And so she did just that, achieve such heights of mastery and power of her arts, that she drew an interest of the goddesses and was challenged to a quest, defeat every creature in Dunscath, and obtain immortality. And so she did just that, and mind you, not even most of the demons thread anywhere near that realm, and that woman just up and literally conquered it, which, to be entirely honest, is a feat even I did not expect her to accomplish. Huh, if I did not know any better, I'd say that you are fearful of her. Naruto noted, as he reached the entrance into a cavern, and proceeded inside. Fearful of her? No. Downright terrified? Yes. Grimory responded, with Naruto traversing the dark passage. Let me make it clear to you, Naruto, Scathach is the first actual human from this world that had killed not one, not two, but 7 Utsutsuki clan members, and I'm talking about higher-ups. And that was before her ascension into the godhood, so you can understand why even some of the great kings of hell would rather avoid incurring her wrath. On the plus side, she did pick up a hobby of training promising Uzumaki, if they find their way to her. Sadly, traditional route to her is closed, so we will have to improvise. Now then, we should be nearing our intended target. Just as Grimory had said it, Naruto stepped into the large clearing, with a hole in the ceiling of the cave, giving it light and showing something quite interesting to both him and Grimory. Is that a horn? Naruto asked, as he walked to what appeared to be a pitch black with red blood lines broken horn, impaled onto the floor by a sword made of out pure black metal with strange red lines on it, making it appear like some kind of mechanism or such. This doesn't look it's from Konoha. Never seen anything like it. Unsurprisingly, since it is not of this world, but I happen to know what this is. This is Excalibur, an extremely powerful sword, with enchantments that allow it to consume energy and convert it destructive power. Grimory replied with clear indication of a surprise. I have been wondering for ages what had happened to it. It was lost some ages ago during a battle between two extremely powerful warriors in another world, and since then I've heard nothing of it, but seeing it here and with the horn of Barghest of all things, I'm starting to piece together what had happened here. It used to look different though, but I suspect that after such a long contact with Barghest's horn, it actually took in properties similar to those that our primordial hound of destruction possessed. Care to elaborate? Naruto asked, as he pulled the massive for his size sword, finding it surprisingly light. Wow, it's lighter than I thought, but I guess that's magical sword for you. Also, what is a Barghest? An extremely powerful primordial beast, an entity created soon after this world's formation, with the nature closer that of otherworldly beings, like myself. You could say they are like naturally created tailed beasts, only even more powerful and formed from primordial energy and able to generate it, with Barghest being one of such creatures. Grimory said, as Naruto picked up the horn. As I had suspected, this land was once Barghest's domain, but somewhere down the line, around 7 centuries or so ago, she must have been slain, with her body sealed away and only her horn remaining. No wonder that this forest is saturated in the primordial energy, since it's coming from this. Naruto looked down on the horn in his hand. You mean that this entire forest came to be because of this one horn? Naruto asked of Grimory with a surprise in his tone. Man, if one horn had done all this, what could this beast do if it ever were to appear? Let's just say that it would destroy Konoha and everything that is within 100 or so kilometer radius with nothing stopping it, if it were to switch places with Kyuubi on that night. Grimory responded. Still, this is actually perfect. We can use this horn as a source of power to transport you from this realm to Dun Scaith. Now, then here's what you need to do, and so Grimory went into explanation of the ritual. Land of Shadows. Dun Scaith. Castle of Queen Scathach. At the end of which Naruto now found himself falling through the trans-dimensional portal, landing smack down onto the courtyard of the massive castle complex. Groaning, Naruto started to rise up to his feet, while also grumbling. You know, you could have warned me of how painful this would be. Naruto stated with no small amount of anger. Given that this is your first time traveling between realms, along with the fact of you not even being a novice and the sheer complexity of performing said feat of magical nature, I would say you performed marvelously. Grimory retorted. And as for the pain, we were rather Spartan in the resources, hence had to forego supplementary preparations. Still, all things consider, I would consider this a momentous success. I'll take your word on it, Naruto grumbled, as he finally stood up and looked around. Huh, I was expecting something, I dunno, more shadowy for the land of shadows. A word of advice, young traveler, to not judge one place at a first glance. A regal voice spoke from behind Naruto, forcing him to turn and face an extremely beautiful woman with long purple hair and red eyes with body curves that would put every Konoha beauty to shame, encapsulated it all in a dark purple bodysuit, with her hand holding a menacing crimson-red spear. I apologize for any insult. I did not mean to intrude thoughtlessly upon your domain. Naruto bowed his in respect, with the woman seemingly not reacting for a moment, before she spoke again. Raise your head, young one. She told him. Once he did, she took a good look at Naruto. Most curious, tell me, young one, what is your name? The woman asked of him in a polite and regal tone. I am Naruto Uzumaki, pleased to make your acquaintance. Naruto introduced himself with a bow. A member of my clan, I see. The woman said in quiet tone to herself, before speaking to Naruto. I am Scathach, queen of this realm that you know as Land of Shadows, and mistress of this castle and once member of your clan. Tell me, Naruto, why have you come to my realm? All those that came before you were at least 10 years older than you, and traversed my realm's lands first before coming here, yet you've arrived right at my doorsteps through a rather crude method. I would have thought that elders of our clan or your parents would do their best to dissuade one such as yourself from such dangerous activities. About that, if I may ask, how long has it been since you've had any visitors from my world, my queen? Naruto asked politely, with Scathach cocking a brow up at this question. You may address me as Scathach, for I am not your queen. Scathach told him. And to answer your question, time in my realm moves at my own discretion and differs from one in your realm. Hence I will not give you a proper answer, but your question rouses in me suspicions of dire nature. Tell me, Naruto, what has become of our clan and of the world? Naruto could only let out a tired sigh. It's a long story. Naruto simply said, with Scathach simply summoning 2 chairs for them, sitting comfortably in one and offering another to Naruto. Thank you. Naruto accepted, and sat down. Fortunately, we have all the time in the world. Scathach responded. Well, to begin with, and so Naruto went on to elaborate to Scathach all of the events that had led to him coming here, along with all of the events that had happened since Scathach had received her last visitor from Uzumaki clan, with the queen listening to all, and only after the tale's end did she speak. So, the tragic end has befallen our clan. Though such was a common fate in the times of Sengoku and one was to be prepared to face it, it still aches my heart that such was the end of our clan. Scathach replied with sorrow in her voice. I've heard of those shinobi villages being formed from Mito, and thought that they would only bring more death and conflict, which our clan needed none of. It saddens me that my last student's life had been spent in service of this foul system and protecting, but what truly infuriates me is the way in which you have been abused and made to suffer for others' ambitions and greed, Naruto. You have my heartfelt sympathies, and vow that if it is your desire, you are more than welcome to live in my realm to escape the Hidden Leaf Village. I vow to offer to you every form of protection that you may require. Scathach pledged to Naruto in full seriousness, touching Naruto. I am very touched with your proposal, Scathach, but I have come not to plead for a sanctuary. Naruto told her, with Scathach looking with curiosity at him. Grimory had told me that you grant a privilege to train and learn from you to the finest men and women of Uzumaki clan. I know that I am nothing compared to those that came before me, and that I am a son of the traitor, but I ask you to give me a chance to learn from you. At that moment, Naruto sprung on his feet and then knelt and bowed his head before Scathach. I know that I possess little to nothing of worth, but I plead to you to at least give me a chance to earn your. Before Naruto could continue, as he felt Scathach's hands reach for his head and gently raised it, with Naruto seeing Scathach's soft and warm eyes gaze into his. Raise your head and stand up, Naruto. She gently helped him, before speaking to him. Many have come here, boastful of their accomplishments and abilities, thinking of my training as commodity, and all were found wanting by me. To humble oneself like you did, and to possess such strength of character, even after all that was done to you, this takes courage, and courage I consider a defining trait of character by which I decide whether one is worthy of my training or not. And you I find worthy of it, so stand tall, Naruto Uzumaki, for I take you on as my apprentice. I am most grateful, Shisho. Naruto bowed his head again, with a faint smile crossing Scathach's face. Normally, I train my students for only several years, but with you, I shall train you for 8 years, for I shall teach you in arts that I have reserved away even from my most promising students. Scathach told Naruto, surprising him. However, while in training, I will not have Grimory impeding you in any way, so she is to cease all of her actions with Ashura's soul in you. She may continue once you return to your own world, until then, I would have you at your most powerful. I thank you, Shisho, but if I stay here for so long, wouldn't everyone notice that I've grown up quite a bit in Konoha, when I come back? Naruto asked of Scathach, who simply smiled. Also, wouldn't I be missed? Within this realm, time flows at my volition in relation to other realms, so while here we shall spend 8 years, only a moment shall pass in yours. And as for the predicament of your appearance, your education under me shall also be supplemented by the one you receive already from Grimory. Scathach informed him. I am certain that the sagacious demon Duchess of Knowledge will teach you the means of concealing one's identity and true nature. Oh, you better believe it. I'll teach you such techniques they'll never be able to tell your clones apart from the real one. Grimory promised to Naruto. Thank you, Shisho. Naruto smiled to her. Please take care of me. I will, Naruto. She promised to him. 1 second in Shinobi world later, 8 years later in Land of Shadows. Naruto's age, 14. The very next second after Naruto had left this world for the Land of Shadows, a new rift opened up right in the place where he had left, and out stepped not a scrawny, malnourished kid, but a young man, strong and lean in build, dressed in a dark purple coat with dark red details and armor plates on it, with same colored armored shirt and black pants underneath, with armored greaves and gauntlets. His face was leaner than sharper than that of Minato Namikaze, but one could clearly see the resemblance, while his hair was not so spiky and more naturally messy, having grown paler in tone, with his eyes now colored of gold, serving as signs of his training with the legendary witch of Land of Shadows. Taking in one breath, Naruto Uzumaki looked around and finally spoke up. Home sweet home, Naruto said, as he sensed the flow of energies surrounding him through his sensory abilities. Well then, no time like the present. Time to get to work. Yang style. Shadow clone jutsu. And with this, a special clone had materialized, before assuming the previous look of Naruto via special transformation and leaving for the village. With the Yang-style application, that clone will pass on as you with no problem, and thanks to our contract, we'll have a full-time feedback from him. Grimoire responded, as Naruto recalled his lessons from her on the subject. This should give us free time to start on our work outside of the hidden leaf. First of all, we should retrieve Mito's hidden cache, since it contains finances that would be of most use to you in setting up your businesses. Grimoire surmised. But with the powers you already possess, Naruto, would it not be possible for you to already break away from Konoha? A new voice, one belonging to Barghest, chimed in from inside of Naruto's mind. After your training with Lady Scathach and having stood your ground against me, I am highly doubtful that anyone in this village would pose a significant enough threat to you. Maybe that is so, but as we all have learned by now, there are bigger threats than just the Shinobi, Barghest, and even in my current form, I wouldn't be much a threat to them, hence why I'll need to get even more powerful. Naruto explained himself, before continuing. And besides, just obtaining freedom from Konoha and fulfilling our agreements will not be the end of everything, so I've got to think on what to do afterwards. Because of that, it will be far more to my advantage if Naruto Uzumaki for now remains what he is in perception of Konoha, while real me sets up what's to come for the future. Naruto told them, as he finally began to make his way out of the cave. Speaking of which, you have been rather reserved in expressing your desires for the future with either of us. Grimoire noted. I understand that you have had time to think things through, so what have you come up with? I would have imagined that you would already know it all, considering where you reside. Naruto noted with dry tone. And I would have imagined that by now, you would have learned that I do respect your privacy. Grimoire noted back, with Naruto chuckling to that. Let's just say that I'm not planning on playing this endless game of Shinobi, or to follow their rules. Minato and everyone else thought that they are going to own me like their tool and use me for their amusement. I think I shall do the same to them. Naruto told them, with both entities slightly confused by his decision. Do you still mean to become the Hokage? Barghest asked of him. I believe it was well established that it would be virtually impossible for you to become one. The very village would not allow you. Then it's a good thing I'm no longer aiming so low, Barghest. Naruto chuckled, as he was finally out of the cave, before his chakra sensory picked up something close by. That feels odd, like nature chakra inside of a living person. Gotta investigate. And after pulling out a metal mask of same color as his attire and putting it over his eyes, Naruto quickly reached the location from where he felt the disturbance. Taking a position on the perch, he saw the signs of a massacre, with at least 5 Anbu of Konoha dead, and in the middle of it all Naruto observed what looked like a mutated and nightmarish crossbreed between a dragon, a snake and a woman, devouring the remains. For most, the sight such as this would have been enough to pass out from shock and fear, but Naruto had literally seen worse things in the land of shadows, and had killed them. Deciding to take a moment to examine this abominable creature with his senses, Naruto soon understood what the problem with it was. That woman is somehow taking in nature chakra without sage mode, and it is mutating her via alteration of her physique and chakra network. Naruto said aloud, as he observed the woman feast upon the remains of the Anbu. That process is burning her nutrients like wildfire, so she is trying to replenish. If it keeps up, she'll either die or lose her humanity entirely. Neither of which are particularly good fates, but if you would like, I believe the two of us could save her life. Grimoire spoke up, as she too observed the monster, as it roared in pain and hunger. The choice is yours, of course, Naruto. Naruto took a few moments to consider, before making his decision, dropping down onto the ground level, immediately drawing the attention of the mutating woman, as she roared and charged him. I don't know if you can understand me, but if you can, then please bear with me for a second. And then Naruto produced one of his crimson chains and sent it towards the monster, restraining and then sending a powerful enough pulse to knock it out, finally stopping its rampage. Alright, now to examine and help her. Hours later, Anko Mitarashi was no stranger to waking up and feeling like she had been through hell and back, but what she felt right now was impossible to compare to anything, and what was the worst of it, was the fact that she had remembered every single moment of when she had been undergoing that transformation. The pain, the hunger, the raw instinct, and worse, young Shinobi didn't know if there ever existed such an excruciating and mind-destroying pain like this, but what was worse was the fact this was not the result of her own volition. It was the result of Konoha's Shinobi doing it to her, to one of them in an attempt to replicate and use the cursed seal that Orochimaru put on her, or at least that was the intention. What did end up happening was a sudden and unexpected mutation, and Anko broke out, fleeing to one place where she felt safe, where she was chased, and then Anko's eyes widened as she realized that she was back in her human form, sitting straight up and observing her surroundings, seeing that she was in some sort of cave, with a hole in the ceiling, and a fire near her. And sitting next to her was the person who had knocked her out, who appeared to be a young man with pale blonde hair and fair complexion, one clearly a handsome one, with an air of mystery and power about him. Glad you are awake, Anko. I believe that is your name, Anko Mitarashi. The man asked of her, with Anko blinking at him with confusion, before he sighed and spoke up again. In case you are confused, yes, you are alive and I've saved you from your transformation. I've taken care of that seal on your neck, so your old teacher won't be bothering you. The man answered to her, with Anko taking a few moments to process it all. And, what about those Anbu? She asked of him, with the man shrugging it off. The ones I've eaten. She was ready to vomit, but then the man spoke again. Yes, you did, but it was not your fault. You were not in control of what was happening to you, so do not blame yourself. He told her, with Anko turning to look at him. I've made sure it won't happen again. However, I am afraid I was not able to pull that mutation completely out of you, since the seal had transformed too much of your organism. Fortunately, I did the next best thing, so which had saved your life. And, what did you do to me? She asked of him with suspicion, before she realized something. You didn't rape me while I was knocked out cold, did you? She suddenly asked of him, with the man cocking a brow up at that, with Anko literally pointing to her being stark naked before him. Despite my looks, but I do have morals. Besides, I was preoccupied with more pressing matter of saving your life. He responded. As for what I did, I've basically streamlined the mutation and adjusted it into what those people were trying to achieve. In short terms, your body now is able to absorb nature chakra naturally, without any harm to you, so you can use it as a supplement to your own chakra, hence why you can sense it all around you. And in addition, you now also have a second form available to you. If you are curious, do the same thing you would when activating that cursed seal. It is best you see it for yourself. Anko decided to trust in his words, and did just that. Soon enough, she felt her body absorb a great deal of nature chakra, and then she felt it happen, similar to what had happened the last time, but instead of any pain or agony, she felt something akin to euphoria, like she was releasing herself. Anko's body grew in height and muscle mass, with her hair growing straight and long, reaching to her ankles, while taking in a bright purple color, with her eyes taking similar color. Then skin on her limbs changed into hardened black and golden scales, her feet and hands becoming clawed, with a tail soon sprouting from her backside, of same color, resembling one of snake. Beforehand, Anko would have been utterly terrified by what had happened to her, but now she felt like she was herself, as if it was natural as breathing. As she observed herself for some time, she soon turned her attention to the man, who simply minded the fire and kept it going. Why did you do it for me? Who are you anyway? She asked of him. Because I felt like it, and after I've read the mind of the creature in the seal and the other Anbu that came after you, I've learned what had happened to you. Like you, I too had suffered because of this village, all because of the ambitions and greed of those who thought themselves allowed to use others for their own means. The man replied, before facing her fully. And as for the name, I am Naruto Uzumaki. He replied with a small smirk, with Anko not believing him. You are shitting me. I've seen that kid many times and ain't no way you are him. Anko stated to him, before Naruto looked her straight into the eyes, before forming a sign. What are you? Like I said, Best you see for yourself. And then he sent her a genjutsu with a summary of his memories, which answered all of her questions, causing Anko widen her eyes in shock at him. Believe me now. Fucking hell. And you just came back and Anko was processing all that she had seen and sensed, just as Naruto finally stood up, dusting off his coat. Hey, where are you off to? To get us something to eat. With your new changes, your body will need at least twice as much nutrients to properly function, and I also need to replenish myself. Naruto told her, preparing to head out, before Anko spoke up again. Wait, what's going to happen now? She asked of him. Look, I've seen your plan, so I get the gist of it, but aren't you worried I would just blabber about it? Ain't you taking a risk here with me? She asked of him, with Naruto taking a moment to think about it, before answering. To be perfectly honest, yeah, I am taking a risk here with you. It would have been safer for me to leave you, but I decided to do a decent thing to someone who clearly was wronged by Shinobi. Naruto responded to Anko, who was shocked to hear him say it. Speaking of, the ones who tried to experiment on you belong to some clandestine faction within Anbu, called Root, with a big shot called Danzo Shimura heading it all. Apparently, he and Orochimaru wanted to see if they could improve this seal, hence they used you, with the third Hokage aware that Danzo wanted to examine you and your seal for something, unaware that Orochimaru was involved. So, basically, you've been sold out by the third. I've taken care of the Anbu that came after you, rewriting their memory and basically making them believe that you've died. In other words, you are free to do as you please, though I wouldn't advise going back to Konoha. Naruto let it all sink into Anko's mind, before she finally spoke up. Alright, then I'm coming with you. She suddenly stated to him, with Naruto looking at her with a bit of a surprise. Look, what those fuckers did to you was sick as hell, and now they've fucked me up as well royally. The way I see it, the only person who had treated me as a decent human being is you, and if you are going to take vengeance on the leaf, then I want in on it. Besides, if you are actually going to carry out those big plans of yours, you're gonna need a lot of help, so I'm offering it to you. And you are prepared to turn your back on the leaf just like that, including your friends and allies? Naruto asked of her, with Anko glaring at him. You ain't the only one who had been treated like shit in this place. I've caught a lot of flack because of my bastard of a teacher and his experiments, and now those same bastards did to me the same thing he did. Anko stated to him with fervor and anger, before calming down a little. I'm done being a victim or a subject to lying pieces of shit, and the way I see it, you'll be infinitely fairer with me. Plus, I owe you my life, so that also got to count for something, doesn't it? And besides, are you really gonna say no to all of this, especially when I'm offering it all for free? She sultrily pointed out to herself, proudly showing off her new, unique beauty, with Naruto clearly admiring it, and Anko noticing it. Is this your final decision? Naruto asked of her, with Anko nodding strongly to it. Then I accept you as my partner and companion, Anko. Just partner and companion? Anko asked in a suggestive tone. Not interested in us being something more intimate and closer than that? She asked directly of him, with Naruto chuckling at her attitude. You certainly do not like to beat around the bush, do you? He asked of her, with Anko standing up and sauntering to him. Well, I'm just that kind of a girl. She told him, before pushing him back onto the ground and seductively lowering herself before him, practically purring with desire, as she mounted him. I see what I like, and I go straight for it, no doubt about it. And you, I want you bad. She said in a nigh predatory tone, before leaning in and capturing Naruto's lips in a devouring kiss, before the two devoured each other in a wild, passionate and near animalistic way. Safe to say, that afterwards, Naruto had no doubt in Anko's loyalty, and once the sun rose again, Naruto and Anko headed off to lay the foundation for what would be the end of reign of Konoha. Half a year later, Hyuga clan's secret sacred grounds. Naruto's age, 14. The last half a year have been rather busy for Naruto and Anko, starting the foundation for Naruto's shadow enterprise, establishing connections within various spheres and places within Land of Fire. Not an easy task, to start up such an endeavor from ground up, but Naruto wasn't one to complain, and the secret financial cash that he retrieved from Mito Uzumaki's hideout was more than helpful in proving the startup capital for his needs. While his network was still in infantile phase, Naruto at least could be certain that it wouldn't so easily discovered by anyone, as he took precautions to ensure it, along with avoiding poking his head anywhere that would immediately attract attention from anyone with significant power, like Konoha. Still, he was making successes and was on the right track, and Naruto initially thought that he wouldn't be personally back in Konoha for at least another half a year, allowing his young clone take care of playing the role. However, it was the report from Grimory of the activities of his clone that first got him curious, and then concerned, as it touched upon the subject of one Hinata Hyuga, a shy, innocent girl that Naruto happened to have saved before he had met Grimory. According to her, Hinata had suddenly gone missing some weeks ago, and no one knew where she was, with her clan not disclosing any information. Normally, none would have actually given much thought about Hinata, but there was the fact that she was rather interested in observing Naruto from afar, and Naruto was aware of it, and now she had suddenly disappeared. This had roused Naruto's worries, since despite her shyness and near stalking, he did have a soft spot for the girl, hence why he took time to return to Konoha and investigate what exactly was going on, with Anko coming along as well. Deciding to extract information directly from the source, Naruto had ambushed and acquired the needed information from a high-ranking member of Hyuga clan, before erasing his memory of the incident. From him Naruto had learned that Hyuga elders have decreed that Hinata was to be disinherited, and that she was now to be instead used for some kind of ascension ritual, which, according to the information Naruto had gotten, would make Hyuga clan the strongest in the leaf. All that he had learned pointed to the fact that the Hyuga were using Hinata in much the same way as Anko was used by Orochimaru and Danzo, so the two decided to intervene. Stalking their way into the hidden sacred grounds of Hyuga clan, located in an isolated part of Konoha's exterior territories, Naruto and Anko, wearing matching outfits, concealed themselves and observed what was going on the grounds below them. On the clearing, Naruto and Anko observed seals written in blood, which glowed with chakra, with Hinata, unconscious and bare, laid in the center of the circular seal, with over 20 Hyuga members guarding it, while another 5 were performing seals. One of the elders held in his hands a large black and red crystal, seemingly filled with a twisting and formless substance, which was quite literally pulsating with power, and not normal one for the shinobi, and eerily familiar to Naruto. That crystal, it feels like the primordial energy, but worse. Naruto quietly stated, with Anko listening to him. It's pulsating with such darkness, like it's a soul, and yet not. Naruto's tone was more than enough to cause Anko some concern, but what she had noticed next was enough to scare her a little. Naruto, your hand, it's shaking. She pointed at his right hand, which was indeed slightly shaking. I'm getting some seriously bad feeling from that thing myself. Like I want to be 100 miles away from it. I do not blame you, and I personally am baffled that those fools would even think of interacting with this thing. Grimory's serious tone was enough for Naruto to regard this situation as severe. That is a crystallized energy of darkness, an element of creation closest to the primordial energy, but is extremely dangerous and unstable. What's worse, darkness has the ability of absorption of all kinds of matter, physical, energetic and even mental and spiritual. That particular one had been absorbing negative emotions, such as anger, pride, lust, the whole 7 deadly sins, so it must have been here since the days of beginning of Sengoku. And Hyuga, oh no, Naruto, stop them. No matter what, do not let them put into Hinata. Naruto heard her, and within a second he summoned his dark Excalibur, with Anko partially transforming into her Gorgon form, as she had dubbed it, before they jumped from their hiding place. Intruders, stop them, we've come too far to be stopped now. The elder ordered and rushed to Hinata, with Naruto dashing towards him as well. About half a way to his target, 7 Hyuga members tried to intercept and stop him, ready to utilize their gentle fist style, but were too slow to do anything, as Naruto swung his Excalibur once, unleashing a powerful dark wave, which obliterated them and freed his path, while Anko held off the rest. Reaching the borders of the seal, Naruto then noticed a barrier erected and preventing him from entering, supported by the other 10 Hyuga members. Seeing as the elder was closing in on Hinata, Naruto decided that there was no time to waste, and so unveiled his trump card, with a fearsome red spear appearing in his hands. Gai Bolg, seek your prey. And with the name of his spear invoked, a dark red line was unleashed from its tip, before traveling to strike the hearts of every Hyuga in the seal's premises, taking out the Hyuga elder last, with him failing to reach his intended target, with the barrier coming down. Alright, now to safe. Gods, what have they done to her? Naruto asked in shock, as he reached close enough to examine Hinata's body, seeing black and red lines on her pale body spreading from different points, as she convulsed, with her Byakugan eyes replaced with appeared to be shards of the crystal, with darkness spreading out them. This is even worse than I had thought. These sick mongrels have already implanted smaller shards of this crystal into her body, probably to begin adjusting it for the infusion of the big one into her. There is no way we can purify or remove those shards from her, they are already part of her, but the problem is that she is now being transformed into something similar to a demon, but the changed side is clashing with her human one, and she is essentially dying. Grimory stated to Naruto. If we can't purify her body, then the only thing we can do to save her is to finish the ritual. Naruto's analytical mind went into work. But if we infuse the crystal into her and she transforms, the amalgamation of that negativity will break her mentally. Unless we siphon those negative things out and even as the things stand, Hinata has already been broken and damaged by what has been placed inside of her. Grimory stated to Naruto, who silently cursed himself for being too late. Naruto, it's no time to be blaming yourself. We have a decision to make. We are saving her. Naruto simply said to Grimory, as he picked up the crystal. Tell me what I should do. Naruto told her, and Grimory went into the explanation. Hours later, for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Hinata finally woke up without feeling form of pain or agony, which was something that she did not think was possible anymore for her, and yet she was finally free from the agony, and the moment she opened eyes, she again was able to see much to her euphoria. However, just as her euphoria had subsided a little, she realized that she was no longer as she was before, with her being no longer like she was, in all manners of that meaning, as not only her body was different, but her mind and spirit. Some feelings, like shyness, embarrassment and fear, had either completely subsided or were gone entirely, while others, like passion, willfulness, playfulness and love for Naruto, felt amplified and much stronger. Her mind was also stronger, faster in conclusions and decisions, but also more mature, fully formed, yet also in some things innocent and young, but much more developed than when she was before. There was no denying that Hinata had become something entirely different from human, and she loved this change. Only after she reveled in her new raw changes did she finally take time to realize that her body had also undergone extreme changes, as she was no longer a little child, but a fully grown young, with quite a developed set of curves to add to it, as she observed herself via a pond that was near her. Her eyes were different, ruby red in color, but she could sense Byakugan them, or something similar to it, while her skin turned quite fairer, making her appear like a doll almost, with her hair long and snow white. Surprisingly, Hinata didn't feel herself scared or disgusted with her appearance, quite the opposite was the truth, as this acceptance brought a sense of fulfillment and joy to her. Once Hinata's self-observations were over, she looked around her sides and finally noticed the two persons that were in here, a woman and a man in similar garments, but also different from normal people. And the man, Hinata's new senses that she knew not she had until now almost screamed to her that he was Naruto, the boy who had protected her from the bullies and instilled in her the way to live. He was seated on the ground, clearly weakened and tired, breathing heavy and seemingly unable to move. Naruto-kun, Hinata asked in quiet tone, taking in the sound of her new voice and drawing the attention of both him and his companion. You are awake, Naruto noted with a ragged breath. I am glad that you are alive, Hinata. I am sorry too, to have come so late. Naruto said, as he seemed to struggle to even breath, the sight of him in such weakened state rousing a near primal sensation of fear in Hinata, and she moved to close the distance, with Anko stepping in between the two of them. Whoa, easy there, lady. You've just been through hell and, at that moment, Hinata suddenly moved and grabbed Anko's throat with her arm, lifting her up and looking at her with absolute bloodlust. Get away from Naruto. She practically growled at shocked Anko, as she prepared manifest her second form in full, while from Hinata began to appear black-red energy, before it began to take form of dark appendages, preparing to tear Anko apart. Hinata. One word from Naruto had seemed to snap Hinata out of her rage, as she turned her full attention to Naruto. Let Anko go. She is very dear and precious to me, just like you are. Naruto said with a ragged breath, and the moment Naruto said seemed to have clicked something in Hinata's mind, and she immediately let go of Anko, and she looked extremely sad and guilty. I am sorry. She said immediately, while Anko coughed and regained her breath. I do not know why and how. Do not worry why yourself, Anko said as she regained her breath. But damn, you near choked me to death. I know Naruto said you'd no longer be a human, but you demons must really be built different then. Demons? Hinata asked, before she looked again at her form. Is this what I am now? Allow me to clarify, and salutations, Hinata Hyuga. Suddenly, Grimori's voice was heard in Hinata's head. I am Grimori, the demon duchess of knowledge and an involuntary guest within Naruto, alongside a certain pseudo-yokai and a primordial beast. But do not concern yourself with it for a moment, what you need to know is that I am communicating with you through a special seal that Naruto placed on you, which allows me to connect and speak with you, and I shall now bring you up to speed. I would appreciate if you could bear with me for a few moments, and so Grimori began to explain the whole situation to Hinata, and while for her it felt like hours, in reality it took but a moment, and once she was done, she finally spoke up as she looked up to Naruto with the warmest of smiles. Naruto-kun, why you saved me again? Hinata said to him in an innocent way, with a tone filled with love. I am so happy. So am I, but, are you not disturbed with what you have learned of me? Naruto asked of her, as he finally felt his strength begin to return to him, with Hinata immediately shaking her head as a question. And what do you think about it all, Hinata? He asked of her, with Hinata thinking but a second about it. I want to help you, to join, assist and fight alongside you. Hinata immediately answered with complete sincerity, with Anko raising a brow at that, before turning to Naruto. If you stand against Konoha, then so shall I, Naruto. I am yours in all things and matters. Not to be a sound like stick in the mud, but is it okay for her to be that okay with everything? She asked of Naruto. I've had my reasons, but in her case, this is just part of her clan that are being assholes, or were. The village didn't do anything to you, girl. But they hurt Naruto and you, and my clan also hurt him, and I can't forgive it. Hinata said with a clear anger, before she softened in her expression and words. I know that I am different now, and that I'll not be like them, but I do not wish to be like them, not anymore. I am who I am now, and if Naruto would have me, then I would give my all to you. She told him with complete sincerity, with Naruto taking a moment to consider it all, before he finally gathered his strength, standing up and speaking to her. Is this what you truly want? Not out of any form of obligation or debt, but you personally wish, Hinata? Naruto asked of her. Yes, Naruto, I am yours, forever and ever, in all that I am. Hinata stated with complete devotion, with Naruto sensing her complete sincerity. Like I mentioned, the shards have affected her mind, altered her way of thinking, made her more extreme and straightforward, but also more sincere and open, with her core remaining the same. Grimori told Naruto through their link. She does have a mind and being comparable to you and Anko in maturity, and she can alter her appearance and appear like she was before transformation. Not to sound purely materialistic and practical, but she could be a serious asset within Konoha. Naruto-kun, you need someone you can trust to further your ideas and plans within Konoha, and I can do that. Grimori will train me and I will learn from her, and I promise to be useful to you in any way I can. Hinata, seemingly sensing Naruto's thoughts stated, as her expression began to change to one of desperation. Please, Naruto-kun, I wish to be yours and I understand, and I accept you, Hinata. Naruto told her, and she immediately went on to hug him tightly, before her lips clashed into Naruto's, almost devouring them, before he instinctively answered, until they departed from one another. Ah, why you will need some clothes. Why, does my body repulsive to you? She asked in concerned tone, prepared to change immediately. No, it is not. It is extremely alluring and arousing. Naruto admitted, with Hinata happy to hear it. But we do need to cover you, since it must be uncomfortable for you to be so exposed. Hinata merely giggled at that, as her hand came up to Naruto. I do not feel exposed or embarrassed, and if Naruto-kun feels happy to see me like this, and at that moment, Hinata's other hand reached for his crotch, touching it quite openly and clearly. Then I am very happy and want to make you feel even more pleasure than just from seeing. She stated in a sultry tone, with Anko letting out a whistle. And you said I wasn't one to mince words. Anko commented with mirth and clear arousal, as she licked her lips suggestively, while Hinata was all prepared to partake in Naruto. It was safe to say that after that night, Naruto's life did get a bit more frisky, but he was only glad for it, since he did have come to accept such a life, and he was more than glad to have Hinata with him. As for Hyuga clan, all that they learned was that their experiment was an extremely costly failure, and since the one conducting the experiment largely kept everyone out of the loop, none were surprised to see Hinata return without any changes before she left for it. Though the former heiress would appear and act as she was beforehand and seemingly had no memories of what had happened, the newly born demon of darkness began to spread her beloved's influence and grow his power within Konoha, finding quite fertile soil in here, while also mastering and growing her own power and being. 3 years later, Uchiha grounds. Naruto's age? 17. Then will you help me? Itachi asked of the masked man, as they met for on the sacred grounds of Uchiha clan, forgotten by all but select few. Yes, I will help you wipe out our clan, but in return, you will join my organization. He told Itachi. As you wish. However, no matter what happens, you leave my little brother out of it. Itachi told him, with the masked man agreeing with a nod. We will strike tonight after dusk. I need you to take care of the police station. And I take it that there shall be no interference from the Anbu? He asked of Itachi, who nodded. Very well then. And then the man disappeared in swirl, with Itachi promptly leaving the grounds, with none aware of Naruto's concealed presence, hiding in the shade, before stepping out of it, with a smirk on his face. So, the council is having Itachi do all the dirty work for them. Or rather, I should say, Danzo. Naruto commented on what he had heard. I guess I should be thanking Itachi for sparing Sasuke, or otherwise I would have to kill him, for depriving me of Indra's new vessel. He still intends to destroy his own clan. Perhaps it would be prudent to do something about it, considering that you do have a fair few associates within it. Grimory reminded Naruto, who mentally agreed with her. Over the past 3 years of his clandestine activities, Naruto had managed to not only establish a network of spies, informants and even enforcers outside, but also within the Leaf, finding quite a surprising number of supporters within the Uchiha clan. Their discovery, as well as much of the work done within Konoha, was the credit of Hinata, who proved to be an exceptionally good manipulator and eminence in the shadow. It was she who had discovered the members of the Uchiha clan who were sick and tired of Konoha's treatment, but who didn't want any part in Fugaku and his supporters' plots, and who wanted to simply survive and get better treatment. It honestly surprised Naruto that nearly a third of the Uchiha clan were rather sensible and reasonable, to the point of wanting to get out while they had the chance, and they were all the happy to pledge themselves to Naruto and his growing shadow empire. And Naruto was not about to let some of his most promising allies die just like that, and so he was already forming a plan of action, as he formed a sign and sent a pulse to a certain someone, who soon appeared before him. Lord Uzumaki. The man of Uchiha clan dressed in garbs of the police force member bowed before Naruto. What is thy bidding, my lord? Konoha's council has finally determined the fate of the Uchiha clan. Their verdict is to eradicate it before they start a new war, and they have Itachi Uchiha do the deed. Naruto stated to the man, who looked at him with surprise. Tatsuya, I need to pass on the message to all that are willing to follow me. Gather yourselves and your loved ones at the designated location before dusk's fall. Then, it is as you have predicted, milord. Tatsuya Uchiha said with bitterness. To think, that after all that we have done for this village, they would those bastards wouldn't even listen to us, all they do is just use us like their damn guard dogs. The man said with clearest anger, with Naruto looking him in the eyes. Can I trust you to carry out this task, Tatsuya? Naruto asked of him again, with the man bowing his head in respect. Yes, my lord, I will do as you command. He assured him. My lord, about the topic we've discussed earlier, Tatsuya decided to bring it up, with Naruto perking up with interest. Yes, Naruto asked of him, with Tatsuya replying with a bit of hesitancy. Makoto, my sister has made it clear that no matter what her own opinion and desires may be, she will stand with Fugaku no matter what happens. Tatsuya said with regret. My lord, I know that my sister has been found wanting as your godmother, but I plead to you to say no more. Naruto simply told him, before adding. I'll take care of her, you have my word. Just make certain that your people are ready. Yes, my lord, I will. And, thank you, Tatsuya added, before disappearing from sight. This was rather surprising for you to agree to help him, despite the fact that she is nothing but a stranger to you, Naruto. Barguest noted with surprise. It will also add additional difficulties in regards to preserving the survival of your supporters from the eyes of Konoha. Is it wise to do so? Wise? Nope. But I do value Tatsuya and he has been nothing but honest and diligent with me, plus his daughters do adore Makoto, and I do hate making children cry. Naruto sighed, closing his eyes for a moment, sensing a familiar presence. You are back earlier than I expected, Anko. Naruto noted, as his first partner and de facto right-hand woman appeared before him, wearing a garb similar to his, with her hair done in a long loose ponytail. It all went smoother than expected. Haruto and his friends are all too eager to work with us, if you promise to deal with the heavy hitters of the Namikaze clan before they act. Anko informed Naruto, before producing a scroll and giving it to him. In fact, as a sign of good faith, they wanted me to pass this along to you. Said you're going to find this interesting. Naruto opened the scroll and looked at its contents, with a smile forming on his face. Well, this is rather interesting indeed. Looks like I'm not the only who is interested in the change of government in Land of Fire. Naruto said with mirth, before passing the scroll to Anko, who looked at its contents. Yorinobu and the main family are looking for a way to supplant the daimyo. Looks like they are no longer interested in the way their puppet dances for them. They've basically installed that idiot just because he was so easy to use, after offing his older brother and staging a coup to ensure his daughter won't get the throne, and now they want to get rid of him too. Anko said with no small amount of amusement. These Namikaze really do like to play the power behind the throne role, don't they? What you want to do about it? Nothing for now. They won't be making any moves until they have groomed their new puppet, and that won't happen in at least 4 to 5 years. We'll pass it along to the princess, as a sign of our commitment to our agreement. Naruto told Anko, who nodded to him. But first things first, we've got a certain old schemer to put down for good. After hearing that, Anko's lips curled into quite a vicious smile. About the damn time. I've been itching to put that bastard into the ground. Anko stated with such fervor, that features of her second form appeared. We are taking out his entire outfit, aren't we? No survivors. Naruto simply told her, with Anko barely containing herself from sheer excitement. Did I tell you how much I love you? Anko asked of her, as she licked her lips in anticipation of the massacre. You know exactly what to get to the girl for a present. Speaking of a girl and presents, shall we be taking Hinata along? You know she's all but itching for a chance to spend time with you. Naturally, Naruto said, before he sent a mental signal to Hinata, and within the next second, a pool of darkness formed near them, and from it appeared Hinata in her true form, dressed in a form-fitting black dress with red lines. Hinata, how are you doing? Most wonderfully, now that I am with you. Hinata answered with a smile of elation to Naruto. Like always, You rescue me in the most desperate of times. I was about to again endure another session of usual berating from my father, all the while Neji fumes and smirks about his falsehoods. I do pity my clone for forcing to endure it, but she was more than happy to take on this chore. Now then, how may I be of use to you, Naruto-kun? What do you desire of me, my love? The suggestive subtext wasn't lost on anyone present. I've decided to put an end to Danzo Shimura and his private army. Can I count on you to assist us? Naruto asked of Hinata, who let out a cute chuckle. Must you really ask, Naruto-kun? She asked in a cutely way, before her smile turned into one of mixed viciousness and elation. To help you destroy your enemies, few things would bring me greater joy than this. Hinata proclaimed with zeal and anticipation. Route ANBU's HQ. Hours later, just as Itachi Uchiha was carrying out his orders to massacre the Uchiha clan, so was Route Anbu being annihilated by the team of Naruto, Anko and Hinata using the occasion to finally put an end to the clandestine enforcers of Danzo Shimura. Under different circumstances, Naruto was more than willing to leave it be, but Danzo and his minions have started to encroach on his enterprises outside of Konoha and snooping around where they were not welcomed, like the covert dealings of Naruto with Konoha's citizens. Though there was little chance of Root discovering anything critical or compromising for Naruto, he was not about to take any chances, and given the fact Anko had been itching to get her hands Danzo for all he had done to her, it became their next obvious target. Despite the Root basically being a division of Anbu, which are supposed to be the finest and best shinobi the village can muster for their defense and offense, Danzo's puppets proved not much a threat when directly confronted with the trio. Compared to them, Naruto had received direct training under a literal goddess of martial arts, sealing, weaponry and battles, while Anko boasted near impenetrable scales and extreme speed and power, as well as the ability to literally freeze a person's chakra network with but a glance. And as for Hinata, under the tutelage of Grimoire, she had become a literal monster from nightmares, as she utilized her new darkness element as a weapon in multitudes of ways, from merely summoning spikes to creating living creatures from them. To add to it all, since Hinata's nature was quite literally that of darkness, she could literally be all over the place, manifesting her powers or being, with her physical body being just part of that entity that she now was. Unlike her previous self, Hinata held neither qualms nor reservations about dispatching her enemies, and did so with gusto, as she walked at a casual pace, as all around her manifested her tendrils of darkness, slicing apart, crushing, and devouring and just destroying all that came near her. Both Naruto and Anko knew that if Hinata wished, she could simply end everything in an instant here and now, but she knew that both Naruto and Anko also wished to partake in the slaughter, and so she kept herself contained, feasting her eyes on how Naruto wielded his Excalibur with grace and power. 5 more were coming onto him from all sides in hopes of trapping him, only instead, they made it easier for him to cut them all down, as Naruto gripped his blade and went to town on them, disappearing from their sight and become a dark blur. In less than a second he moved around them before materializing near Anko, before flicking his sword of the blood, and the final 5 Root Anbu fell apart like broke dolls, with Hinata looking positively like she watched the performance of the century. Well, looks like that's about all of them, if we are not missing anyone. Anko noted, as she looked around. However, looks like the rat isn't in its hole tonight, to that Hinata merely giggled playfully. Oh, he is here all right. He is just being shy, that is all. Hinata said, before looking up and smiling viciously. Now it is quite rude for the host to ignore his guests and leave them to find their own entertainment. Come down now. And at that moment, Hinata cut into pieces the beam on which Danzo resided, forcing him to jump down right before the 3, looking quite annoyed and displeased. Danzo Shimura, took you a while to show yourself. Naruto noted, as he turned to face him. A true shinobi never reveals himself until it is the time to strike. Danzo stated to them. Clearly, you and your associates have never learned that principle, wherever you have come from. To that Naruto simply chuckled. We are actually natives of Konoha, though I doubt you would know of us, or at least the 2 of us. Naruto noted. While you were waiting, you did lose all of your little puppets, with you only appearing when we found you. I don't know about you, but to me this screams cowardice. Danzo simply glared at Naruto, as he began to remove the bandages on his right arm. They were expected to die for me, to die for Konoha, and thanks to their sacrifice, I have witnessed the extent of your abilities. Danzo told him, as he unveiled his arm with Sharingans implanted into it. And now, there is no way you will defeat me. You might as well surrender and ask for a merciful death. My, ain't he full of himself? Anko said with a vicious smile, as she fully transformed into her Gorgon form. Shall I take him on? Anko asked of Naruto, who simply nodded, and she charged at Danzo, before her long hair transformed into black snakes and they struck at Danzo, ripping him to shreds, ending his life. Now I remember. You were Orochimaru's failed experiment, one that was supposed to have died 3 years ago. Suddenly, Danzo stated from behind Naruto's back, as he pulled out his kunai and prepared to strike Naruto. So it was you who had picked her up. And then he sent his kunai towards Naruto, but before he could even extend his arm, a cloak of darkness enveloped him, before completely crushing his body and devouring the remains. How queer, Hinata said with a played-up perplexing way, as she turned her head along with everyone, and looked at Danzo reappearing, alive and harmless. I'm quite certain that Anko had killed him, and he just disappeared from my darkness. Yet there he is again. Is he teleporting or something? Anko asked with annoyance, with Naruto shaking his head. No, you two did kill him, yet he appeared again, Naruto stated with complete confidence, with Danzo again making his move. That one appears to be the strongest one. I shall be taking her for myself. Danzo stated, before he appeared before Hinata. Now, you serve me. In that very moment, Danzo casted the Koto Amatsukami upon Hinata, before he was sliced into hundreds of pieces by her Hinata's darkness, with her showing quite an annoyed expression. Serve you. Hinata's pure anger was in full display. I serve only one man, and compared to him, you are less than nothing. And at that moment, Danzo again appeared, seemingly taking Hinata captive and putting his kunai to her throat, drawing attention of Naruto and Anko. Let us put your faith to the test, then. Danzo commented, as he turned to Naruto. To strike me down, you will have to attack your partner, and I will ensure that whatever attack you perform will be lethal. Now then, do you have what it takes to attack me, or will you beg for your friend's life, if she is precious to you? After hearing those words, Hinata chuckled with amusement, while Naruto brought up his sword, charging it with power. She is more precious to me than this entire village and its people put together. And with these words, he swung Excalibur and sent its destructive power straight at Hinata and Danzo, surprising him with such willingness to strike. One like you would not know the depths of my affection towards her. Was all that Danzo heard last before the destructive wave destroyed him, with Hinata materializing at Naruto's side the next second, completely unharmed and positively beaming with love for Naruto at his words. Okay. How many times does that make it? 4. Anko asked rhetorically, before she turned to Hinata, deciding to ask a certain question. Say, Hinata, did you notice anything changing about Danzo every time he reappears? Hinata took a moment to think. Oh yes, every time he reappears, one of those Sharingans on his arm closes. Hinata stated, just as Danzo appeared on another beam, with Hinata looking straight at him. Just like now, she stated, with Danzo's shock changing into annoyance. You are not with the Akatsuki, or other villages. Danzo stated, as he racked his brain, trying to figure out who they were. Are you with Madara Uchiha? He asked of them straight, with Naruto honestly a little surprised at the question, though he didn't show behind his mask. You mean the guy in the mask? Nope. He's just one other name in my list. Naruto responded. But if you are curious to know as to why we are after you, that is rather simple. You and your pawns started poking your noses where you shouldn't have. That clearly didn't reveal a thing to Danzo. No matter, I shall learn enough from your corpses. Danzo prepared to attack, when suddenly Hinata's darkness grabbed a hold of him, restraining any movement, but not killing him. You think that merely restraining me will save you from failing to kill me? Nope, but this will. Naruto unleashed his chain, and it pierced Danzo's chest, before he sent a powerful pulse into it, causing the man cry in pure pain, as he felt his chakras set ablaze. Oh my, looks like his arm is starting to grow into an actual tree. Hinata noted with a look of amusement, as her darkness devoured the object, leaving Danzo alive. Now he's rather mortal and can't escape. Hinata remarked, releasing Danzo from her tendrils and letting Naruto move his immobile body closer to them through the chain. Why you possess Uzumaki chains, Danzo noted through pain, as he coughed blood. So, why you've come to claim vengeance, for your fallen clan. That I honestly didn't know, but to tell you truth, this does make ending you all the sweeter. Naruto told him, before he sent his chain straight through Danzo, before swinging it in such a way to destroy Danzo's body into piles of flesh, broken bone and blood, which fell onto the floor, finally remaining in this world. That's the end of him and his little outfit, Naruto said, before suddenly sensing someone new appear, someone very familiar to him. Oh, looks like we've got new company, and what company it is. Lord Third himself, all ready for battle. Hinata said, as she saw him approaching them from one of the tunnels, still not in the direct line of vision. Shall we dispatch him as well, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked of them. No, his death would be to our detriment, and we are done here. Let us go, Naruto stated, and the three finally departed from this place, just few moments before Hiruzen Sarutobi and a squad of his elite Anbu arrived. Lord Hokage, it appears that whoever was behind this attack has fled. One of the Anbu reported. I am not picking up anyone alive in here, aside from us. Spread out and isolate the area, but be careful, the enemy may still be near. Hiruzen ordered as he observed the site of massacre. Was this also Itachi's doing? Could he be even more powerful than we had thought? Was what Hiruzen Sarutobi asked of himself, completely oblivious to the reality. On the very next day, Konoha had learned of the eradication of the Uchiha clan, save for one Sasuke Uchiha, at the hands of Itachi Uchiha, while any news and information regarding Root Anbu and Danzo Shimura was completely suppressed. All that the people learned of Danzo was that the man had passed away quietly in his bed, a dignified and quiet end for who was perceived to have been one of the most venerable men in the village, with the people completely unaware of all the sins the man had committed. And all around the land of fire, in various towns and cities spread around it, a small influx of newcomers came to reside in them, families and singles, mingling in with hundreds more newcomers, bearing new identities, completely new and bearing no affiliation with the leaf. None had deigned to take notice of it, and in a single night, Naruto Uzumaki had gained over 100 eyes and ears all over Land of Fire, while silencing and removing the sole person who had come the closest to uncovering who he was, even though he was not even able to perceive past the shadows that Naruto had casted around himself. 4 years later, Land of Fire. Naruto's real age, 21. Okay, to recap the events of the recent memory, finally took Ashura's powers, obtained the Forbidden Scroll, took over Gato's company and expedited my affairs in Uzu and Land of Water, plus basically took control of Land of Waves, had to rescue Sasuke several times, and to keep Hinata from killing Sakura multiple times. Naruto thought of it all, as he walked down the road in one of the towns behind Jiraiya, in their search for Tsunade. Following that, we've got Orochimaru stealing my kill of the third, plus putting a cursed seal on Sasuke, and now I'm traveling with this degenerate in search of Tsunade Senju, who is currently gambling and drinking away her clan's fortunes literally 100 kilometers to the north of us. Oh, and did I mention that this guy is literally stealing my money just to entertain himself? Remind me, why exactly did I agree to come along for this? Naruto rhetorically asked himself for what felt like 100th time. Because if you didn't, it would look suspicious and out of character for Naruto Uzumaki that Konoha knows and despises, and you did commit yourself to complete fulfillment of your plan and strategy. Grimori reminded Naruto. And besides, it's not like you have a lack of money. So bear with him for a little longer. Anko did say that sooner or later Sasuke will literally go running into Orochimaru's arms for a further power up, and that's when you'll be able to grab Indra's soul. Might as well do it now, but that would also mean completely changing my other plans, especially one with Daimyo, and that would really be a waste of time, effort and resources. Naruto let out a mental sigh, as he turned to Jiraiya, sending him quite an annoyed eye. Go ahead and leave me for your whores and booze already, you frog-loving degenerate. And just as Naruto had thought it, Jiraiya finally stopped and turned to him. Alright, kid, I'm gonna go and meet up with some of my informants to learn about Tsunade, so you can go and book yourself a room in the hotel over there. Jiraiya stated, with Naruto taking out his frog wallet, before Jiraiya literally snatched a wad of cash from it. And I'll be talking this. Hey, stop taking all of my cash. I had to work really hard to earn it all, and I'm not gonna let some pervy old man just take it all so he could spend it on booze and women. Naruto shouted with indignation, with Jiraiya making an annoyed face. Besides, ain't you supposed to be an author of that dirty trash? I thought you authors were rich. You still have absolutely no respect for my art, and as for this, consider this to be my fee for not only tolerating such an obnoxious little fool like you, but also teaching you something useful. Jiraiya replied, before walking away. So stop complaining and go bother someone else for a change. And with those words Jiraiya went into the nearest tavern, which happened to double as a brothel, with Naruto letting out a sigh of relief. In all seriousness, is this man supposed to be one of the most legendary shinobi around? One would think that he would exercise a bit more restraint when it came to sating his carnal desires. Naruto noted in his head. Apologies for speaking, Naruto, but do you not think that this comes off a bit hypocritical? Barghest spoke up. After all, you are not exactly celibate yourself, considering how often you partake in carnal pleasures with both Anko and Hinata, quite often in both of them at the same time. The day before you've left you three didn't even leave the house, quite literally having sex without so much as a breather for nigh a whole day, evening and night. 1. They are my lovers and I keep solely loyal to them. 2. I do refrain from alcohol. And 3. I recall you and Grimory being quite hot and bothered yourself, and intent on watching the show. Naruto remarked. And intending to join in soon enough, beloved, and when we do, we'll need a whole week to satiate ourselves with you. Grimory promised Naruto, who knew she was not joking on the matter, and so he decided to go and book himself a room, until he received a mental call from Hinata. Naruto-kun, I am sorry to bother you, but there was a rather interesting new development in the leaf. Hinata spoke up through their shared link. Itachi Uchiha and his partner Kisame Hoshigaki have appeared in the village, seemingly looking for you, but were intercepted by Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai and Might Guy. According to my sources, Kakashi has been put into a coma, while the Akatsuki have made their escape, but before that, Sasuke had ran into his brother. Tell me, dear Hinata, did that fool try to get himself killed again? At this point, Naruto was becoming rather annoyed at the tendency Sasuke had to finding trouble on his hide. I take it he is alive, but otherwise incapacitated. Quite so, I do know that they were headed in your direction. Shall Anko and I intercept them? Hinata offered, but Naruto had a different idea. A tempting offer, but I think I'll tend to these two personally. Thank you for informing me. Naruto replied. I shall have to find a way to thank you properly when I get back. You always bring the best gift to me yourself. But I wouldn't mind a little upfront present. Hinata's hint was clear as day to Naruto. I'm sorry, Hinata, but I can't have you go and kill Sakura just yet. As annoying and obnoxious her existence is, she is useful for the sole purpose of furthering the legend of Naruto Uzumaki's stupidity. Naruto replied, already sensing the disappointment in Hinata's voice. But, as it happens, I do have a free evening, so why not spend it in that private spring you select? I'll book the whole place just for the two of us. After hearing those words, Hinata practically purred from anticipation. I'll be counting minutes, my love. She promised to him. And I'll prepare something special for you. As for Sakura, you can have her once I've dealt with Sasuke. After that, she'll just be a waste of space and air. Naruto told Hinata, who was glad to hear it, before disconnecting, with Naruto leaving to pay a little visit to two Akatsuki members. A few miles to the south. Looks like we were expected, Itachi. Kisame stated, as he saw a certain figure, clad in dark garments with a signature black sword at his hip and a mask over his eyes, standing in the middle of a road, clearly expecting them. Say, doesn't this guy look kinda familiar? Like, didn't one of those zombie guys mention someone like that? They did, Itachi simply stated, as he stepped a little forward, so as to be heard by the one who was blocking their path. I take it you intend to block our path forward, Mao. Itachi addressed the man by the sole moniker that was known about him. I guessed correctly, Itachi Uchiha, and I must admit that I'm honored that the Akatsuki have taken notice of a person of my small notoriety. Mao, or rather Naruto, unbeknownst to either Itachi or Kisame, replied. I had thought I've managed to slip past your notice. Few things escape our notice, though you've certainly managed to elude us for quite some time, Demon King. Itachi replied, as Kisame moved closer, while smiling his predatory smile. Ah, now I remember. So this is that Mao, or the Demon King, the guy who supposedly has got his hands in nearly every affair in this land of fire of yours and beyond. Hell, I've heard that you are also responsible for ending that bastard Yagura's reign last year and ending the in Hidden Mist. Kisame commented, as his hand began to reach for Samahata. Gotta hand it to you, I appreciate it, so as a favor, I'll be sure to make it quick and painless. He took his blade off his back, with Naruto not even moving from his spot. You seem rather confident in your abilities to take me on. Just what I would expect from the one who called the monster of the Hidden Mist. Naruto remarked in calm tone. But I do have to ask you, if you can really afford wasting time fight me right now, only to later tangle with Jiraiya of the Sannin, all in the hopes of getting to the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. That's not to mention a possible pursuit that Leaf had sent after you've made your presence known in there. I see. Your reputation is well earned indeed, seeing as you appear to be aware of our plans. Itachi remarked in his usual way. However, by appearing personally before us like that, it would appear that we have become an interference to you in some manner, or rather, we are threatening you or your plans with our actions, would be more accurate. Itachi deduced, with Naruto mentally giving him credit where it was due. And your reputation too is well earned, Itachi Uchiha. As you have surmised, your presence interferes with a certain affair I have currently in progress, and I would very much appreciate you not interfering in it. Naruto responded. So you too have an interest in the Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Itachi surmised. If you are aware of our organization, then you know of our capabilities. I do, and I also know of your long-term goals, that they include all nine-tailed beasts. And personally, I have no problem with that, but you see, I do need Naruto Uzumaki and Jiraiya to be undisturbed by your presence. Naruto stated to them, hence why I am here today before you. Oh, so the brat is more important than we even suspected, if the enigmatic Demon King wants him. Kisame noted with a bark of laughter. But there lays the problem, you see. Since you also want the boy, we can't let you have him, so I guess we'll just take you on right here and now. Kisame prepared to attack, before both he and Itachi sensed a quick wave of pure, unadulterated bloodlust coming from the Demon King, enough to stop them in their tracks. If you are that eager to fight, I more than welcome you to come and fight me. In fact, I would very much like to let off some steam. Naruto told them, as he laid his hand on his blade. But then again, maybe you should ask yourselves, do I feel lucky? Well, do you, gentlemen? Naruto smirked at them, enjoying the looks on their faces. Goo, that guy's got some serious killing instinct on him. Heck, not even the boss terrifies me like he just did. Kisame admitted with a hiss. What hell did he crawl out of? One of man's making. Naruto replied casually. If I may ask, what is exactly your long-term plan in regards to Naruto Uzumaki? Itachi asked of him, with the Demon King shrugging casually. I think we both know you are actually asking, if I'll be needing the Kyuubi that's inside of him. Naruto rephrased the question, and the answer is that for the moment, Genin Naruto Uzumaki of Konoha serves my purposes, as does Kyuubi, but before this year ends, both will have fulfilled their purposes to me, and then you are free to take them, if you can have them. You'll receive no opposition whatsoever from me. Naruto replied, surprising both Kisame and Itachi. So in other words, for now, that kid and his companion are doing you some kind of favor, and you want us to give them a wide berth. Kisame asked of Demon King. And what's in it for the Akatsuki? You get to maintain your current numbers, and not gain me as your immediate enemy. Naruto replied to them. If the Akatsuki's information network is as good as I was told, then you know of my policy in regards to my enemies, regardless of their wealth, influence and power. Itachi and Kisame exchanged looks, before Itachi spoke up. We will withdraw, but only if you answer this question. Was it you who killed Danzo Shimura and destroyed his root Anbu 4 years ago? Itachi asked of Naruto, who simply smirked at that question. He became an interference to my plans, so I took care of him and his little private army. Naruto replied. Did the Akatsuki wish to follow in his footsteps? Naruto asked of them, with Itachi getting all of the answers he needed. No. Kisame, we are leaving. And with this said, Itachi and Kisame turned in a different direction and left Naruto on the road. Quite sensible of them, though I was expecting them to have to fight you. Grimori replied. But it may have been prudent to thin Akatsuki's numbers while there was still a chance, given their plan to gather the nine-tailed beasts. Maybe, but in the end, it won't really make much of a difference in the long run. Naruto noted. Akatsuki's plans are doomed to fail anyway, for even in the event of my defeat, there won't be the 9 tails to collect, and after I've revived you, their days will be numbered. And now, I've got to book me a spring resort and finally enjoy some quality time, and with this, Naruto left to take care of his own personal business, while Kisame and Itachi were speeding towards their own destination. Seriously, Itachi, I wasn't expecting you to bail out so soon. Even with your earlier usage of Manchukuo Sharingan, I doubt that man would have stood a chance against your Tsukuyomi. Kisame noted. I have tried to cast it on him. Itachi admitted, with Kisame looking at him with shock. He was neither affected, nor have even noticed it, or rather, he simply did not care to react. I suspect that his mask has granted him some form of immunity to Genjutsu, while the rest of his attire shielded him from my Sharingan's ability to perceive his chakra. So the man came prepared to face off against us. He's definitely not to be trifled with then. Kisame agreed. Do you think boss will take it as an excuse for our supposed failure to take the 9 tails? Considering our current state and the fact that it was recon mission, I am certain he will be more than satisfied with the outcome. The fact of us meeting the Demon King and learning something of him is enough to consider this mission a success. Itachi stated to his partner. It is now safe to assume that Mao's influence and power is equal, if not greater than that of Orochimaru, and that it is unlikely he will join us as Orochimaru's replacement. Itachi concluded, as they sped to their destination. A month and a half later. A day after Sasuke retrieval mission's failure. Konoha. Stupid. Block-headed moron. He couldn't even do a single thing I've asked of him. Sakura loudly and violently disparaged upon Naruto, as she had learned of the fact that he failed to retrieve Sasuke, and had even gone as far as to defect. And to desert the village, I knew that idiot was a quitter from the very start. Sakura stated loudly to the lone street, as she moved through it in the evening. Hello, Sakura. Sakura nearly jumped when she heard a voice behind her, turning and seeing Hinata Hyuga. Oh gods, it's just you, Hinata. Sakura let out a sigh of relief. I'm sorry, I was just disparaging upon Naruto-kun again. Hinata said with an eerily sweet smile and in not so shy tone, which surprised Sakura. I take it he upset you again. PF'd. You can say that again. That dunderhead not only broke his promise to me, but he let Sasuke escape, and then he didn't even have enough courage to face me and ran away himself. Sakura stated in a heated tone, ignorant of Hinata's widening smile. That worthless piece of trash. I knew from the start that all that talk of his being a Hokage and always keeping his word was nothing more but a bunch of hot air. Well, you got the first part correct, and as for the second one, Hinata let out a rather chilly chuckle. Why would anyone keep their word to an obnoxious, worthless waste of air such as you? It took a few moments for Sakura to even process what Hinata just told her. What did you just? And in that very moment, Hinata's darkness finally spread and engulfed all of Sakura, as she transformed before her eyes into her true form, much to shock and horror of silenced Sakura. Oh, Sakura, you have no idea just how long I've been waiting for this moment. You've been such a foul-mouthed banshee towards my Naruto-kun, so eager to shout, punch and disparage him at every opportunity. Hinata smiled a vicious smile to Sakura, cupping her face in a gentle fashion. You couldn't begin to comprehend how many times I've had to be stopped from finally ending your worthless life, but Naruto had need of you, so I endured, but now, I can do all I want with you, and let me assure you Sakura, I will enjoy every second of your long suffering. And with an elated chuckle, Hinata and Sakura disappeared from sight, with Sakura's fate afterwards being anything but a merciful one. Thanks to Naruto and Grimoire, Hinata had developed quite a creative mind, especially when it came down to utilizing her powers, and in case of Sakura, who provided her the greatest incentive to study and improve, she meant to outshine herself.